And I particularly deal with adults, ages of 18 and above. But then today we shall be sharing knowledge that pertains to the whole family. That includes adults and children. The Bible reminds us that my people perish for lack of knowledge. So the purpose for today's session is to empower us with some knowledge which can transform our practices so that as families, we can live a healthy life. Next slide. So we shall have a brief discussion. We want to keep it brief so that we can leave room for questions. And so this is going to be our discussion on why should we actually live healthy as a family, and what does living healthy look like, and then what are the facilitators and barriers of living healthy as a family. Next slide. Briefly, health, most people understand health from the physical perspective, that is having a well-functioning body, but actually health goes beyond the physical aspect. It involves also the mental aspect and the social aspect. So you cannot say you're healthy or your family is healthy when they do not have complete physical and mental and social well-being. So health is not necessarily having no disease in our bodies, but actually, if you're not functioning fully, the social aspect, the mental aspect, and the physical aspect, then you can as well say you're unhealthy. Yeah, next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, so these are some of the dimensions of health. This is just to enlighten us that there is more to health than the physical aspect and the social aspect. And that's where, as Christians, we bring in the spiritual aspect, we bring in the environmental aspect, we bring in the emotional aspect, and we also bring in the intellectual aspect. So when we think about health, it goes beyond merely having absence of disease. So we need to think about health holistically as something that goes beyond the physical aspects to involve these other dimensions as highlighted. Next slide, please. So why should we even be talking about good health? We know that good health is extremely important, because when you're healthy, then it gives you a greater sense of well-being. You're able to wake up when you're feeling better. You're able to go to bed when you're feeling well. You're more productive at work or even at home. Then you have an improved quality of life in the sense that you're able to have the other dimensions that I just mentioned all well balanced. Then you have better mental health. You're not stressed. You're not depressed. You're not worried, and this increases your chances of living longer. As we know, one of the aspects of good health is, for example, over communities, like life expectancy. As a country, our life expectancy is at 60. Now, when you compare this with countries from developed countries that have a life expectancy of 80, that actually gives you an indicator of how well or how healthy our community is. So briefly, some of the things that drive good health highlighted in this image. This image shows us that you cannot become healthy only on your own. Many people think that if they go it on their own, they eat well, exercise well, focus on the health behavior, which just contributes 30% to your well-being, then they will be fine. But you cannot be healthy. That's why when you talk about, let's say, life expectancy of Uganda being different from Japan, it speaks to how is the health system in this country? How is the environment? So as a family, we need to think about how to sustain the health of our members, even beyond ourselves as individuals. And so the family can create an important environment that can help members to thrive. And that's why you will see, like, even at a national level, we see a country creating a system that helps members to live healthier. It's very difficult to sustain good health as an individual. And that's why families have to come up with strategies of promoting good health within the family. Next slide. So again, this is to emphasize that you cannot be healthy as an individual. Yes, we know genetics can determine your health, and maybe some of your health behaviors that you acquire can help you to stay healthy. But then the food you eat at home can actually determine how healthy you are. The mental environment, let's say you at home, there's a lot of stress, this can affect you. Let's say the air at home is not good, the quality of the air at home, you're not using clean energy, that can affect your health. Let's say you're staying in a noisy environment, that will affect your sleep. So health actually starts at the individual level, but then goes beyond to the society, and even goes beyond to the environment. So this emphasizes the role of the nucleus, the family, where we come from, and actually the environment that we see in our societies. Next. So what can we do, or what is the role of the family in sustaining good health? So we know that each one of us comes from a family. You have a nuclear family, you have an extended family, and this is a place where individuals receive love, care, support, and protection. And beyond the love and care that we receive, we need to also protect our health, or the health of the individuals, the children in our and in our environment at home. So for starters, we cannot talk about health where there's no money. We know that why actually the health of most of the sub-Saharan countries is poor is because of the poverty. So the starting point is that men on this call and women on this call have to ensure that there's money in the home. You need money to eat well. You need money to ensure that you have clean energy at home. You need money to ensure that members of the family have annual checkups. So this is again to remind us that the economic status of your family can determine how good the health of your family members is. Education is straightforward. There is evidence to suggest that, for example, the education level of the mother can determine how the family will adopt good practices like breastfeeding for the baby, and also the food you eat, and other health behaviors, as we shall discuss later. Cleanliness. if the environment at home is not clean or is not sustained in a clean way, then you're likely to have infectious disease coming in, like diarrheal illnesses, like sanitation-related illnesses. So we need to ensure and to train our children to make sure that there's cleanliness both at home, even at school. Proper housing is also quite straightforward. We know that proper housing will determine whether you get diseases like tuberculosis, diseases like jiggers, and so on and so forth. So a family has to ensure that there's a good roof on top of over the members, be it a rented home, be it a home to stay in. It has to be well ventilated and properly roofed to ensure that the members are protected. Now, we all know that schools are open and coughs and flus are on the rise. This is because sometimes when children go to school, they do not properly wash hands and they are sharing spaces. Sometimes they even share sweets and sometimes eats. But we know the importance of proper hand washing. And these are things that can be taught at home to ensure that kids protect themselves both from respiratory illnesses, diarrheal illnesses, to mention but a few. We know how important proper hand washing is, and this practice must be emphasized at home. Then practices like smoking and alcoholism, once avoided at home, members of the home, like children, will not carry them forward. So these are some of the behaviors we need to promote at home. I'll expound more on this. Like, we need to promote having an adequate balanced diet at home. We need to promote adequate exercise at home, adequate sleep, health education, and annual medical checkups, as I will expound on one by one. So regarding healthy eating, for example, families need to be reminded that whenever you eat, according to the healthy eating plate, half of what you put on your plate should be vegetables and fruits. We need to change the culture of putting only carbohydrates on the plate with some sauce. The standard way of eating at home is that once you serve either breakfast or lunch or supper, half of what you eat should be a fruit or a vegetable, as highlighted here. Most of the time, the green part, which is the vegetables, and the maroon part, which is fruits, is not there, and people just eat the protein, which is the sauce, and the whole grain. So this is something that we can adopt. And of course, one way of adopting it is to make sure that whoever is doing the shopping ensures that vegetables and fruits are brought into the home. Also, we need to fill the fridge with fruits and vegetables and not soda and cake and biscuits. In that way, we shall create an enabling environment. Another way of creating healthy eating at home is ensuring that we have medium-sized plates in the home, and so on and so forth, as we shall discuss. So if you create an enabling environment at home, then even the children will grow up knowing that when you eat, your half of what you have eaten should comprise either a fruit, and we know that fruits fruits are always in season throughout the year in our country, so are vegetables, and they probably cost as much as the healthy proteins and whole grains. So it's just a way of adopting healthy eating lifestyle. Then we need to start jogging together as families. I know we do not have as safe spaces in our environments as we probably would wish, but probably on weekends Men need to take a lead in this. We need to have, as you can see in this picture, the man is jogging with the wife and the children. And so this is something that we need to create time on maybe a Saturday morning, a Sunday morning. You jog as a family. If you practice this, you can be sure that the kids will grow up knowing that it's important. Many times you find that one member of the family, maybe either the woman or the man, is jogging, is doing exercises alone, and they leave the rest behind. So we need to encourage each other that it's not good to leave one member of the family behind, that we should move together. Similarly, we need to create lights out at home. Let's say at 10 o'clock, the children should know that it's time to sleep. We shouldn't allow children to watch TV late into the night. Also, we should have a times out rule at home, let's say for gadgets. Maybe people should agree, maybe at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, everyone switches off the internet and knows that it is sleeping time. We also need to, and we know the importance of adequate sleep, because one of the reasons people are becoming obese is because people are not having enough sleep. Sometimes why we are not productive enough at work is because we are not having enough sleep. And so we need especially to encourage the children to sleep early, and also the adults, so that we can have more productive lives. Next is adequate health education. So it's at the dinner table that you start teaching children the importance of taking fruits and vegetables, the importance of having healthy proteins, the importance of eating balanced diet, having quantities from each food meal, and so on and so forth. But now, these days, sometimes families don't eat together. One eats from the bedroom, the other may eat from the sitting room, but we need to take the opportunity. Sometimes some parents are away from home. They are never at home during meal times. So these are some of the behaviors that as fathers and mothers, we can change by ensuring that at meal times we teach the children why we need to eat carrots, why we need to eat avocado, and so on and so forth, such that we have a challenge of childhood obesity. When you move around town, you can find these children are obese, teenagers are obese. And to make matters worse, you find that even elites are coming to hospital with malnourished kids because they are not there to monitor what they are eating. Next. This is another important one, that we need to be each other's keepers. Why should you be woken up by breast cancer, yet you can do an annual medical checkup, which will show you that your breast is probably having a lump? Men above 40, why should you be woken up by prostate cancer symptoms, yet there are ways of detecting some of these diseases early? The best measure against cancers is either vaccination or early detection. And good enough science has moved way ahead to help us detect some of these diseases early and intervene early. So what can we do as families to live healthy lives? The same way men are reminded to be priests in the home, they also need to take lead on ensuring their families are healthy. Because if men don't take a lead, most of the time men have delegated this responsibility to women, which is okay, but men need to take a lead, because ultimately when a family member falls sick, they're the ones that most of the time will meet the bills. But either way, as the family head, it's your responsibility to ensure that some of the things we mentioned above, exercise is done as a family. You need to ensure that members are eating well-balanced meals, and so on and so forth. And then we need to cultivate healthy habits. Before you move to that one, you need to cultivate healthy habits. For example, ensuring that you conduct health education sessions at the family table. Then let's engineer the environment at home to ensure that healthy habits are adopted. Please ensure that you're buying fruits and vegetables. There are apples, there are grapes. There are many options that are healthy in the supermarkets and even in the. So as the men, we need to take lead to ensure that the environment promotes healthy eating. Because if your child opens the fridge and they find an apple, they're likely to eat an apple compared to if they find ice cream. Then, of course, we know we need to do our part and leave the rest to God, because at the end of the day, it's the mercies and graces of God that sustain us. So as we come towards the end, next slide. Most of the things that I have been talking about require us to invest time. But we know that as men, as women, we don't have enough time to ensure our homes and our families are healthy, because we are busy looking for money. We are busy accumulating wealth. Maybe it may be out of ignorance, but Dalai Lama reminds us that we sacrifice our health in order to make wealth. Then we sacrifice our wealth in order to get back our health. Let us remember that our health is also an asset, because like me who works at Mlago, every time we are seeing patients coming in, and you realize that someone maybe is losing a year or two of their productive life because they were not keen on ensuring that they adopted healthier lifestyles. And as we know, most of the diseases that we face today are preventable. So this is just to encourage us to create time for exercise, to create time to go and shop for the right foods, to create time to prepare the right meals, create time to pass on health education tips to our children, to create time to even sleep, because for you to sleep, it means you may have to give up something. So we need to know that good health is not going to come on a silver platter. We need to put in the sacrifices, and in our struggle to make wealth, let us not sacrifice health at the altar of wealth generation. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. And I'll now open the floor for questions.